Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated economist here. So a lot of people ask me about the Columbia River out here. They asking me like, what's on those boats? Where are they going? What's that all about? And those boats out there, generally most of them are anchored out there waiting to get loaded with grain. They'll head upriver and stop at one of the ports up there that will load them up with grain, and they generally head over to like South Korea, Japan, China, places like that. A lot of log exports. There used to be a lot of log exports heading over to China, but during the trade wars and stuff like that, a lot of that has been diminished. A few years ago, you used to see a lot of containers. They used to haul a lot of containers out to, out of the Columbia River here, but you haven't seen a lot of those containers being hauled out of here lately. And what ended up happening is that there was a problem with the International Container Terminal Services and their lease with the Portland port. And it kind of goes something like this. Terminal 6 was the scene of a protracted labor dispute among the terminal operator, the U.S. subsidiary of the International Containers Terminal Service Incorporated, ICTSI, Oregon, which operated the terminal from 2011 and 2017, and the union representing the longshoremen in the terminal, the International Longshore and Warehouser Union. As productivity at the terminal plummeted, shipping lines stopped calling Portland, and the port eventually ended its lease with the ICTSI. So what ended up happening there is that Portland had, all these ships that would come up here and go up to this Terminal 6 and pick up these shipping containers and take them off to the other ports around the world. But there was an issue up there with this ICTSI and the union, in that they were, ran out of efficiency or whatever ended up happening up there, and the ships were like, you know what, we just can't handle this anymore. We're just done with you guys. Now, of course, the union has their own to say here. It says the union contends that the ICTSI closure at Terminal 6 was caused by the ICTSI's own mismanagement, the constraints of the Columbia River, regarding ocean-going ships, and the financial troubles faced by the ocean carriers themselves that were unrelated to any action taken by the ILWU or Local 8. So the union saying it's not us, it was them guys up there, and it was them ships over there not being able to do their job. And sure enough, that's probably pretty much the problem, because this company Hinjin actually did go out of business and got picked up by this SM Line. Now, SM Line is actually a subsidiary group of SM Group, and SM Line is going to open up their traffic to the Portland port up there to picking up these shipping containers again. So that's actually quite exciting. There are 6 vessels that they are going to be using. The first of them are going to be arriving just after the new year, and they're going to be running a facility or a circle through this, or facilitate a distribution circle through like a huge chunk of ports here. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, it goes like this. It's and forgive me if I get these wrong. The Yantian, China, Ningbo, Shanghai, Busan, South Korea, Vancouver, British Columbia, Seattle, Portland, Busan. I guess Busan again. I guess is like this route that they're going. Gwangyang, South Korea, and Yantan again. So the first ship is expected to arrive in Portland January 2020. So yeah, it's just, this is coming right around the corner here. So all of a sudden, we're going to have shipping containers now coming out of the Columbia River again. And this is really opening up the idea of world trade, because really, if you think about it, if you had a product that you were like distributing through these shipping containers out to the rest of the world, and all of a sudden you can't use this Portland, now you got to ship everything on train or semi-truck all the way up to Seattle in order to get it onto these ships to get it out to the rest of the world. That's an added cost to your product. So when this port opens up, this is going to make things cheaper for people to export out to the rest of the world. But of course, I guess it is a two-way street. It might make it easier for them to get stuff into the country as well. But anyway, this is what they had to say. The reestablishment of ocean container services to Asia from the Columbia River is long awaited and vital for the agricultural and forest products exports. Sorry guys, it's really cold out here. I need to do this inside. Said Peter Friedman, executive director of the Agricultural Transportation Coalition. The benefits will extend not only to those who source in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho, but also those who approach the West Coast gateway ports from further east by train. So yeah, what he is saying is like, once this thing opens up, it's going to make it a whole lot easier for these people to get their products that they distribute to the rest of the world out there. Now, one of the other interesting stories that I have found with this is that SM line, they picked up that Hanjin for like a screaming deal. They got it for like $23 million. And so this $23 million deal, they went out there and started using these ships, and they realized right away, it was like, holy moly, we got such a good deal on these ships that we can service cheaper than anybody else can out there. In fact, everybody else is kind of stuck because they have bought in all these expensive ships. They bought them at top dollar, and they have to be able to make a certain overhead, and we can totally beat them. We need to open up more ports, and that's where they're going to come in and start, servicing Portland again. So I thought that was kind of an interesting story to go along with it as well. Anyway, I guess that's all I had to say about that. And so, uneducated economists, you guys let me know.